everyone, and welcome back to Horse Center this last day before Thanksgiving. So, thank you so much for tuning in and showing up. And thank you to the amazing Swiss Army Sean, who helps keep everything rolling with our social media. Thanks for always being here. And thank you to our special guest tonight, Kylie Wellington, who is currently an assistant trainer for Robert Falcone Jr., but honestly, as a jack of all trades, has kind of already done a little bit of everything in the racing industry, despite being only 21 years old. So welcome to the show, Kylie.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
No, thank you for being here. Like I said, it's kind of crazy timing with Thanksgiving. So we really appreciate you giving up the night before all that to be here with us. And we promise we'll make it a life-changing experience for you. So you'll have no regrets. So, Kylie, your dad rode races for quite some time. What was it like growing up in the industry?
It was really exciting. All I remember growing up was just get out of school as quickly as possible to watch my dad ride races, and that's all I ever wanted to be was at the racetrack.
Very cool. So,
And
what kind of stuff would you do like as a kid? Would you get to hang around the barn, or would you just go straight to the racetrack to watch him ride?
so we had our own riding horses, so that's how like my dad kept us involved was riding while he rode the babies and everything. And then at the racetrack, I started hot walking when I was 11, and I do that during the summers. And he'd take me to work with him while he galloped in the mornings.
Very cool. Very cool. So, briefly, before we go into kind of your entire career here, you recently were at the Breeders' Cup for the first time. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
It was crazy. I got to see so many good horses win, and I'm really grateful for that experience. And then I got to meet a lot of people um, in the industry that you see like on social media, and like everyone's there for the Breeders' Cup, so that was really cool.
Awesome. And would you recommend that to anyone and everyone?
Yeah, like honestly, I wasn't really sure about going because of the crowds, but I it was life changing. Like that was one thing I will never regret is going to that to just to honestly the classic. Like getting to see that in person was amazing.
Sure. Was that your favorite race over those 2 days?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Okay, so Kylie, I actually wanted to discuss with you something. You're really open and honest on social media. I just love that about you. I find it so inspiring. That's kind of how I came across you, actually, was your like extremely cool social media. But you post a lot, not just the highs, which you do post. You post plenty of the highs, and you get to, we get to share in your success with you, but you have also posted your struggles. Like you're very real about some of the places that you came from and how when you first tried to work full time in this industry, you had multiple setbacks. Multiple times people tried to talk you out of it or tell you that you weren't good enough or that you needed to go somewhere else. And you kept sticking with it. And I mean, obviously, it all came out roses because you've worked for some of the best trainers in the entire world. And people are trusting you with getting on their horses, with training their horses, with everything. So, tell us a little bit about what made you want to share those experiences instead of just trying to pretend like, a lot of people on social media are like, yes, I'm just good and everything's perfect. And yeah, I have the best life. you know?
So when I was 18, I like left home, left Iowa, moved to Lexington, Kentucky, and like just jumped off into the deep end. And I was really bad. Like I was terrible, and I had a lot of people let it be known that I was terrible. And I don't know how I didn't give up. I was too dumb to, I guess. And but I know there's people that are like me who are dumb enough to try, but brave enough to keep going. And so like I I look back at pictures from me like from 2 years ago, and before I even knew how to breeze a horse, and I'm like, I don't know. I just want to encourage people like don't stop because like I did so much within the past like since 2020, and still I struggle with my confidence like every day. Like I'm like I don't know if I can actually do this. Like I'm not good enough of a rider, and then I'll have some days that I'm like, wow, I've worked really hard to be here and I deserve it. And I want other people, I want especially younger girls to feel the same way. And because I truly believe if I could do it, most other people can. Because you can look back on my social media, and 2 years ago, it was bad.
Right. Well, I love it because you have several times posted before and after pictures, basically like this was my first job galloping and here's where I'm at now. And yeah, the difference is absolutely remarkable. But I love that you don't try to hide, okay, this is where I started. Like we don't all start off looking like professional riders. Like we start off looking XYZ before we can get to this wonderful place. So I just love that. And I think it is so inspiring and encouraging. Like, I don't even get on racehorses anymore. And I find it so uplifting. I'm like, maybe I should start galloping again. Like, I mean, look at how great she's doing, So kudos for that. So another thing that I wanted to discuss with you, and actually we have someone who brought it up kind of ahead of me. So Grandma Horse Racing always has great insights for us. Who's your mentor? Now you've worked for some of the best in the business. Like I said, right now you're assistant trainer for Robert Falcone Jr. You also have worked for Dwayne Lucas. You've worked for Brad Cox, Mark Cassey. Who am I forgetting? You've worked for like everyone good, right?
Mike Maker too. But,
Mike Maker, yeah. So tell us a little bit about learning from all of those people and what being around all those different trainers has kind of, given you.
Okay, so I have to give a lot of credit to Brad Cox because his assistant Tessa gave me my first job at an actual racetrack to gallop. So without her, like I would have never gotten into it. I learned a lot working for her, and then she helped me learn how to breeze. We use radios and everything, so I give her a lot of credit. And then after that, I worked for Dwayne Lucas, and he's the one where I saw all the transformation happen. Like he turned me into a very polished rider, and I am so grateful for the chance that I had to work for him. He taught me so much, and like I got to ride some really nice horses from, Secret Oath. Like I was touting her since her first race, and yeah, so that was amazing. Mike Maker, he got me up to New York for the first time, and that was great. I'd never worked for him. He was like, and his assistant hired me to go up there, and they gave me a chance, and it was a really fun time, and that's why I wanted to go back. And then I got that job with Mark Passy, and this past year was really, really cool working for him because I got to get on horses like Golden Glider and Bopio and Wonder Wheel. And so, I mean, I've had great experiences with everyone I've worked for. I've gotten to take pieces from everyone, and now being an assistant and galloping my own horses that I'm taking care of, I can use like all my knowledge from everyone else's training and kind of like apply it to this. And so I'm really happy that I have that experience.
Very cool. And you also, you've done it all. Like I said, you've been galloping for everyone. You ponied horses for a while. You were a hot walker, obviously. Something else is it seems like you started your career as an owner very young. Can you tell us a little bit about the owning game and how you got into that and your experience there?
So the first horse that I owned was this thoroughbred that we ran once, and she did not run well. Her name was Indy Almighty, and it was just the guy put my name on the paper and was like, "Here, you want to have a racehorse? Here's a racehorse." And it was a fun experience, and she ran terrible. And she became a very good jumper after she ran, so that was great for her. But then after that, my dad was like, "Okay, let's actually get you into owning horses." And so we started with a quarter horse. She did really well. And then I bought a yearling for $500 off of Facebook. He was
Oh,
skinny, so ugly, and he didn't run till he was 4 years old. And but he ended up making like 150,000 in Iowa. So
wow.
yeah, his name was Royally Handsome, and now he's retired and he's a jumper dressage horse in Iowa. And yeah, Royal, he is. I will always love that horse. He bought me my first car and built up my savings account for me. Like he did so much for me. So I'm really like, thanks to my parents, I was able to have those opportunities because they were the ones that allowed me to buy these horses.
Wow, very cool. And you also were a track photographer for a while, right? You had multiple pictures show up in the blood horse, including even on the cover. So tell us a little bit about that, like how you got into that, what that was like.
That was something that was very unexpected. When I was hired to work for Adam up in Saratoga, it was supposed to be more just office work, and then he was like, "Here, we're short of help. Go out there into the infield and take a picture of the grandstand with the horses." And I was like, "Okay, I don't really know what I'm doing, but all right." And then like the next week, it's the cover of a blood horse article, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And it said like photo by Kylie Wellington, and I was like, I didn't know I would get credit for that, but okay. And so yeah, it was really cool to be watching those races live right at the wire in the infield and then like seeing your pictures posted online afterwards. Like that was awesome.
Very cool. Do you have any interest in doing that ever again, or was that just like a freak thing where they were short on help and you stepped up to the plate?
It was really fun. I used to be really big into photography and the idea of like doing it as a career, but it's just something that I enjoy it on the side, but not for work.
Gotcha. Okay. And you've honestly been everywhere. So I was trying to write down all the places that I could track down that you've been. I probably missed a lot. You've been to California, Saratoga, Oak Lawn, Kentucky, Palm Meadows. I mean, you've been everywhere. So tell us, which track is your favorite?
Okay, so I have not been to Florida yet. I will go. I'm gonna,
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, no, I'm gonna go to Gulfstream like in next week, I believe. Very excited about that. But favorite track, honestly, I love Belmont. Um,
Okay.
yeah, when I lived up there, I would live close to the track, but in Floral Park, like good part of the neighborhood. And I love being on Long Island. Love the track. Like that was hands down my favorite.
Does
Very
Belmont and Aqueduct count?
No, let me answer that now.
No.
And we have a question here from Grandma Horse Racing. Talking horses, how do you know if a horse is a dirt or turf runner?
Okay. So the only way I can kind of tell a trainer what I think is in the breeze if they have more like shoulder and front end action and they're higher headed. That's how I always tell. Honestly, I've never really been in the position to like tell someone whether like, oh, I think this horse needs to run on turf or needs to run on the dirt. So I just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. And we have a few comments here as well from Terry. Hey, wow, what a multi-talented woman. Yeah, like I said, she's honestly done it all. And another one here. I've been everywhere, man. Yes. Definitely.
So, Kylie, what was it like? You said you came in around 2020. What was it like starting out when the whole COVID thing was starting out?
Um, I think it helped me out a little bit because like people were short of help. Like everyone was out of work outside of racing, but there's a lot of people that couldn't travel for like in or out of Kentucky like they needed to. So then they didn't really have a choice. And there's this girl walking around the training center like, "Hey, put me on a horse." And they're like, "Okay, well, here." And so it worked out for me in some aspects.
You also said you're from Iowa. So, how was rooting for the Breeders' Cup or being at the Breeders' Cup with Tyler's Tribe and Kylie Jordan?
That was really cool. They've done a lot to promote the Iowa industry, and I'm really proud of both. I mean, like the trainer, but then also Kylie, as I mean, she's done so much since she started riding last year. So that was really cool to watch them. And like, there's a lot of Iowa people that got to experience it directly too. They all came out to the Breeders' Cup to cheer them on. So that was once in a lifetime opportunity for everyone.
And you mentioned all the horses you've been around so far. Which one's your favorite and why?
Um,
I know this is like picking
okay.
between kids, right?
hmm Okay. Secret Oath is always going to hold a special place in my heart because she was like the first like real horse that I got to like be around. But Wonder Wheel, like right now, she's insane. And I got to breeze her a few times and every time I mean, she's amazing.
Also, you mentioned about the radio. I always wondered about this. How does that go when you're riding a horse? What are they saying in the radio? Like,
Go faster.
So no, usually they're telling me, hold them, like slow down. And I'm like, I'm trying. What do you think? No, usually if you watch closely, sometimes you can see like the riders turn their heads in at every eighth pull to hear a little bit better. You'll hear the splits. And so we're just hearing for like, we go 12 and change, 11 and change, like what they're telling us.
okay, so are they giving you directions too, like what they want? Are they already
Sometimes, yeah, like usually down the lane, like some trainers either want you to like hold them until after the wire and then let them gallop out, or some of them you'll hit the eighth pull and they'll be like, okay, let them roll, and you'll get to like get down and ride a little bit.
That's the fun part.
What's your favorite part about? Sorry, Jamie. What's your favorite part about being the assistant trainer?
I call myself my own boss, even though that's not true. But I walk around this training center, like riding my horses back from the track, and they're like, "Oh, what trainer is that?" And I'm just like, "Me," and because no one knows, like we came from New York, and no one really knows our saddle towels and stuff. But no, it's just me. So I know it's not always going to be like this, but I just kind of like being by myself and just with these horses.
Sure. We've got a few more comments here as well. Frank Bennett says hi. Just wanted to throw that out there. And Daniel Ortiz says, has anyone helped give you a couple of tips or advice when it comes to being an assistant?
Yeah, so many people, when I left New York to come down to Keeneland in October, I was really nervous because I'd never been an assistant before, and I was just like, here. And I didn't really know what to do. I was so stressed out. I wouldn't sleep at night because I was just so worried about my horses. And so I was like always asking people like, hey, like, how do I do this? And I had so many people reach out and like offer advice and like, oh, if you ever have questions, like just ask me. So, there's a lot of people that helped me out getting used to this.
Awesome. And I just wondered, having done so many different things in the industry, which job is your favorite so far?
I always say I don't care what I'm doing for work as long as I just get to breeze some horses. So like the breezing part, like, yeah, I don't care if I'm like stuck in the barn most of the morning. As long as I get to breeze a couple every week, I'll be happy.
Awesome. Love that answer. And can you please tell us a little bit about your cat? Because this seems to be a really big thing on your social media. I feel like I need daily updates, or I'm concerned, like, where is the cat? We haven't seen the cat for 2 weeks. Like,
I don't know what to say about him. He is a menace. He's almost gotten multiple people dropped because he'll be like climbing up in the rafters and then just jump down and chasing birds and like, yeah, he's my baby though. Like you can carry him around and just swing him around and he enjoys it. But no, I've had him for almost a whole year and he's just over a year old now. So I've had him since he was about 6 to 8 weeks old. He lived with me for a little bit, and then that's when he discovered that he wanted to go outside. So I was like, okay, you're going to the barn, and now he hates living inside. So like, I wish I could bring him back home, but he would kill me.
Right. He's a barn cat now. It happens. So what has been your finest moment in racing so far?
I don't really know about my finest. Probably, honestly, the most proud I've ever felt of myself was at Keeneland a few weeks ago when Mr. Bob broke his maiden. It was like closing weekend at Keeneland, and that was the third horse I ever saddled as being an assistant, and then the first one that won. So that was just like this feeling of like, okay, I've had this horse for like the past 3 weeks, and I've been the only one like getting on him and stuff and breezing him and seeing that horse win, like that was like everything to me.
Awesome. And tell us about your upcoming plans with Mr. Bob.
He is running this weekend at Churchill. I believe it's called the Ed Brown Stakes. So he's taking on some tough company, but Mr. Bob is pretty tough himself, so I'm hoping for a good race.
Awesome. So everyone stay tuned. Now you had a post on your social media that I really loved. It kind of touched my heart. And it was you and your dad working horses together. So what is that experience like to kind of be right there with your number one mentor who inspired your love for horses from the beginning to be out there doing exactly what he does right next to him?
It's like it's very fulfilling to watch him and like want to be him my entire life and then just be there next to him. And that's something like I always want to go back home and just work for him. Like I always, no matter where I am, I could be at the nicest racetrack in America. I'm like, sometimes I just want to go back home to Prairie Meadows and like be with my dad again. And he has taught me just so much. So like it's really I like showing to him, like, here, this is like the kind of rider you've made me over the years. Like, thank you. And getting to work horses with him is fun, but he can be bossy and he'll be like I know one time he was like, I want you to sit behind me, then we hit the quarter pole, you're gonna drop to the inside and then you're gonna go and like giving me all these directions and I'm like, Dad, like try. And
Right.
yeah, he's funny.
That's awesome. I love it. Now, on a little bit more serious note, if you would not mind just sharing us how you respond to the sexism in the industry. It's something that, all women have to deal with, in particular young women. So what do you do when you're faced with that kind of situation? What are some of the things that you've had to put up with? How do you just kind of shut that down? We love it. Well, I just have to tell you, our most quotable guest, I know we do this every show, but I have to say it again. Maddie Rowland said that her number one piece of advice to young women is do not take anyone's shit. And we love that. So what's your take on it? Like, how do you deal with it? What would be your advice to young women in the sport who are dealing with the sexism that's kind of inevitable, unfortunately?
It's a terrible thing to say, but like you just like Maddie said, you just can't take it and you just gotta like my biggest thing has been always just proving to people I can because a lot of men were the ones telling I mean there were some women telling me like, oh, you'll never make it as a rider, but my biggest supporters were women that wanted to see other people succeed. And when it comes to like the sexism and stuff, this is a man's sport. We are kind of coming into it at as a disadvantage. We don't have like the upper body strength as they do, so they're going to call us like weaker riders, and maybe we are, but you just got to work harder to prove them wrong. And I've always used like I go to the gym a lot because I used to get called noodle arms when I was learning how to gallop. So like I take a lot of pride in trying to be strong and be tougher than these people. And so like I use that hate to kind of like get better. And that's what I hope a lot of other people can learn to do. Like don't don't take it for sure, and just use it to fuel uh, your future.
Yeah. And I just want to quote this because this is a thing that you posted on social media that just really kind of got to me. It said, you tell young girls to radiate confidence and that will really help them in this industry. So what exactly do you mean by that?
Um, if you're confident, you can do it. And it's funny that you quote me on that because I struggle so bad um, with my own confidence all the time. Like, I'll tell my boss, I'll be like, hey, I have no confidence. And he's like, why? You're a great rider. And like, sometimes you just need someone to like remind you of that. But yeah, you just got to keep having confidence in yourself and like, you can do it. If you believe you can, you will. And that's what I have to tell myself all the time. But yeah.
Yeah. And just a few more quotes here from Grandma Horse Racing. We always have to pull our weight and the guys next to us. And there is nothing more special than being a daddy's girl. That's true. Very cool.
So, Kylie, your dream has always been to be a jockey. Now that you're assistant trainer, are you still looking to be a jockey? Or are you looking more to be your own boss and be your own trainer eventually?
I've always wanted to be a jockey. I didn't think that I would ever make it to where I am as a rider. So that's why when I was ponying horses, I was like, okay, I'll try the assistant route and do that. And then I started galloping, and I was like, okay, no, I need to ride races. And I've had setbacks of my own doing just because I've been hesitant over a lot of reasons, and they always tell you, like, if you're not 100%, then, like, don't do it. And I'm just waiting for the time that I'm really ready, but I hope I do. I'm going to take that back. I will make it to the races, but I'm just deciding when that will be. And right now, I really enjoy being assistant, but I don't think I could ever be the trainer. Like, I see what these guys have to deal with, and I don't think I could do that.
But you get to be your own boss.
Yeah, but like,
You
no.
you have owners to answer to, so there's that.
Yeah.
So another subject we touch on a lot, or I at least touch on a lot, is now you are a young person in the sport. We're missing that aspect of the sport, getting the young people in the sport. Do you have any ideas how they can change that? And have you seen younger people come into the sport?
It's hard for me to offer advice on how to get into this because I was born into it. So I don't really know how outsiders get into it really. But like at Keeneland's backside is very open. They do tours. They invite people to watch the morning training, and that is great. And I don't think people understand how much that means to those people that are looking in from the outside. And they'll be walking past my barn at Keeneland, and I'd be out there grazing horses, and they'd like ask for pictures and stuff, and I'd let them, and like they talk to me about how to get into racing, and just I just try to talk to people as much as I can about it and try to get them involved because I like to see new people get into it, but it's tough unless you have like a person to get you in there.
What about like your friends? Do they ever like ask what you do and what kind of looks do you get, and anybody interested, or is it kind of like
Okay, I don't really have friends that aren't on the racetrack, so
Same,
yeah, there's not much
guilty.
explaining.
It's hard. When you grow up on the backside, you already have a whole set of people there. Why would you need other people, right?
Yeah.
So how about, it looks like you ride quarter horses sometimes, working those. Tell us a little bit about the difference between trying to ride quarter horses and thoroughbreds.
Quarter horses, they're quick. I haven't done a lot with them breezing. I've galloped them here and there because that's what my dad was a quarter horse rider for most of his life, and then he trained quite a few of them. And so I've just galloped a handful, and they just don't gallop far enough for me. Like I want like the excitement of the thoroughbred. Like you actually get to go out there and like go a little bit faster and go for like a mile and 3/8 and stuff. Those quarter horses, they just gallop for a half mile and that's it. But
wow, really? I didn't know that they gallop that short.
No, I mean they don't gallop much at all. I mean,
interesting.
Yeah, but I would love to breeze more of them. So I'm hoping I could get to do that sometime.
It looks like so choppy from the outside. I've never breezed a quarter horse. I'll say that. Only thoroughbreds for me. But they look choppy, right? Like it doesn't look like it would be that smooth.
A lot of them are shorter bodied, and they're just very, they step quickly because they're just moving so fast. So in motion, they feel smoother than what they look like. But yeah.
And we have a question here. Are you coming to Remington?
That is not on my agenda yet, but who knows, because I had no idea I'd be back in Kentucky this year. So
how long in advance do you kind of get notice, hey, you're going here?
I don't know. Before I got sent down here, I was up at Belmont, and Robert told me, he said, just stay packed up, I'll give you 24 hours. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I was packed up for like a week, and then he was like, okay, go. And I left.
Wow. Well, kudos to you for being ready for that. I think I could do it. I have trouble going on a 3-day vacation. I have like 5 suitcases. People are like, really? I'm an overpacker. So the traveling life, not for me.
So what does your daily schedule look like?
I get up around 4. I get to the barn 4:30ish. I have 2 horses, so I take care of them. I do their stalls, I groom them, gallop them, and then that's about it. And then I'll come back in the afternoons and do chores. But I don't have much going on. At night, I go to the gym, but I don't really know anyone, so I just kind of spend time with my horses, and that's it. How sad that sounds, but yeah.
Are you spending Thanksgiving with the horses too?
No, I will not. I do have a friend that's a few hours away, so I will be letting them enjoy it by themselves. And yeah.
There you go.
Very cool. All right. Well, you got anything else, Sean?
Oh, I think that's pretty much it. I appreciate it, Kylie, and we'll definitely be rooting for you, whether you're assistant trainer, jockey, whatever you do. We'll be rooting for you and have you on
Keep
again.
us updated. Yes, we'll definitely have to check back in with you and see which way you end up going. I feel like it's like a mystery novel, and I always like to go to the last page first, but the last page is blank. So I'll just have to keep watching and see what happens.
Too. I don't know yet. So.
There's no great plan. We'll just see where life takes us. But I do think that's really cool. Like you were saying before we went live about how you had this plan, you were going to start riding races, you had everything all set up, and then something just told you, hold off, it's not your time just yet. And then you ended up riding some of the best horses in the country and having all of these new crazy experiences that have taught you so much and been so good for you. So keep listening to that inner tuition. And we've got a few comments here before we let you go. Please come back. Yes, we agree. And from Sean Patrick Nolan, wishing you all the best, Kylie, for sure. Oh, and huge respect. Okay. The comments are flooding in. Sorry, we're going to keep up with it, but it's a lot. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on tonight, and we hope you have a great Thanksgiving, and keep us updated on where you head next.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good night. Aha. I am the all-time champion.
Yeah, I don't have controls to do that. So maybe one day, maybe one day we'll throw you for a loop, and I'll have the control, and I'll just put you right out there.
You are at my mercy at all times. Yeah. That's the way I like it. But she's awesome. I love her. Her social media, for anyone who's not already following her, please do yourself a favor and go do it right now. She has one of the most entertaining social medias out there. And like I said, very honest. Like, I just thought she was so inspiring. Well, before I ever spoke to her at all, I just saw her on social media and was like, man, this girl seems really cool and so genuine, because so much of social media is just putting forward your best face, never sharing any of your struggles, never being a real person, just showing your list of accomplishments without anything that you did to get there. So then people who want to have a part of this industry are like, oh, I can't do this. I mean, look at the people who do this. They're like supermodels, you know? No, like we all have to start somewhere. And she's been so genuine about how that whole process goes. And I mean, look at her now, you know, like she said 2 years ago, who would have pictured her being in this kind of position? So, and
absolutely.
We've got more stuff here. I wish more people join the show. Hey, we're working on it. We're trying. And she's so humble. Yes, very.
Keep bringing them. Whoever's watching, keep bringing them here. I mean, I'll say I'm sure our turnover. I mean, people that come usually don't leave. They seem to stick around. We have our base followers, which we all appreciate. Everybody that's tuning in now probably has been here before. We appreciate it. Yes. We appreciate all the comments.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. We love all of your input, and this is so much fun for me personally, and I think for Sean as well, to see you guys throwing your questions and comments up there, because a lot of times it's things that we don't think about, you know, and then we see it and we're like, oh yeah, that's a great question. And it's just fun to be able to interact on that level. Like, you know, like Sean always says, how many sports can you just like walk up to LeBron James and throw out a question? It's not going to happen, right? But here we get on guests, and, you know, you guys have the ability to interact as well. I've got something else. My notifications remind me tomorrow you're on today. We don't have this interview show tomorrow, right? What do we have going on? We don't have anything tomorrow because it's Thanksgiving. Never mind. Nothing for tomorrow, right?
I think Rich still has Rich and
Oh.
Charles Stills on tomorrow for the
Well,
Daily
kudos.
Show at noon. Yeah. So,
Yeah, take a break from the turkey and get some hot
yeah, there you
picks,
go.
right?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Why not? Well, play horses and watch football tomorrow too. While the family. What else are you gonna do?
Sure.
What else are you gonna talk to the family about? So, yeah, after you do that or before you do that, check them out. So,
for sure.
and no, we are not on tomorrow. Rich is back next week, and Monday we have another young female jockey, Sophia. How did you pronounce this last name yesterday? Barandella?
Banderella? I think it's Banderella,
There,
right?
there you go.
Yeah,
And then
she seems
Tuesday,
really cool.
and then Tuesday we'll have trainer Mark Henning return. Last time we had connection issues, so he'll return Tuesday. And then Wednesday we have Frankie Pennington on. I've been trying to get him on for a while. Met him at Park while I was working for TVG. It's always funny when you try to get on somebody and you're like, oh, he doesn't really contact the socials. You try, and then you meet him and he's like the nicest guy, and he's like, yeah, absolutely, I'll come on. So I'm really looking forward to that show as well. I look forward to all these shows. That's the other thing you were saying about getting to know these people. You also get to know their personality and go, okay, these people are approachable. So when you do go to the track, don't be afraid to go up to them in a nice way and talk to them for a minute or two. As long as you do it in a nice way, definitely they'll do it.
It's rare to come across someone who's just a real jerk in this industry, in my opinion, because it is relationship based. You know, like you have to, no one does this all by themselves. If you're a jockey, then you're riding for trainers. If you're a trainer, you're working for owners. You know, if you're an owner, you have to find a trainer to work for you. You know, like no matter what, it's all very interconnected. So unless you just find the oddball person who has one horse and they do everything themselves, the training, the owning, the riding, everything, that's very, very rare. You know, being a people person helps. Being genuine, being authentic, being honest, all of that stuff is important in this industry. Being approachable. So yeah, most people in this industry are pretty approachable, you know, busy, but approachable. So definitely, you know, just go out there, say hi to people. Most of them are like, yeah, let's snap a selfie. Like, it's all good. So
yeah, and you know, I'll go further than sports because I'm a sports guy. I'm a horse racing guy, but I'll go further than sports. Any kind of personality or celebrity you have, I feel horse racing is the most approachable out of all of them.
yeah.
And I think there's something to be said for those people that don't bet. You get to know people, and if you get to know people, then you root for them to succeed. Now you got somebody you're a fan of.
Yeah.
Again, I think that's what horse racing is missing. We need everybody wants to kill the messenger when I say this because that guy's not dropping $500 a week. Well, it doesn't matter. You bring them into the sport, things work out later, or they're doing something with the sport. We just need eyes on the sport, but we need good eyes that are interested in the sport. So
agreed.
Not his eyes, good eyes.
No comment. I'm staying out of that.
Yeah, and we also need eyes. We also need eyes to clean it up, whether that's his or not too. So don't take those comments the wrong way. But yeah, I think we just need to get people into sport, have them root for something.
Yes.
Not what we have now when I talk horse racing anywhere outside of pretty much here or my brother. It's, you know, nobody wants to talk it, or people are like, what's that? Or, you know, they only tell you the bad things. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what we're here, grinding this out, get people some better information and some better perspectives on exactly what happens behind the scenes in the racing industry. But on that note, that takes us wire to wire this week for Horse Center. And we hope you guys have an amazing Thanksgiving, a great weekend. I hope that you guys tune in for all the other shows this week. And I hope you tune in next week when Rich is here. I'll miss you all, but I'll be back the week after.
Before we go, I keep saying to do this and we don't do this. Willie Martinez now has Fantac. Gotta tell him about it.
That's right. Yes,
you can tell me about that.
yes. All of the Willie Martinez fans out there, please. He has a fan tag. So you can find him on any social media. You can find me on any social media. Forever Wild Jamie is pretty much my handle everywhere. It's great stuff, man. I ordered everything. So I'll be wearing it soon. I'll be the model and you guys can see. I think it'll be coming in next week. So yeah, it's cute, man. They've got backpacks, sweatshirts. They even have like little wine tumblers. So, you know, I'll have my little prop
There
over
you go.
here on the side. But yeah, it's good stuff and it's high quality stuff. So we're very excited about that. But if anyone is a Willie Martinez fan, come and get your matching gear and we'll all be twinsies.
There you go. Yeah, they have all kinds of great stuff. Fan-tac.com. And then also we have Horse Racing Today merchandise as well, horseracingtoday.net, and we have our own shop. So anybody wants to support the show that way, they can do that as well.
I just ordered some of that too. I got a whole new wardrobe.
Before you go to the Winter Circle thing too, have a good Thanksgiving tomorrow to you, Willie, and the family.
Thank you. You also.
Right like this, week is gone by.
Yes. Amen.
You come back and it just 3 days and it goes like that because we're having so much fun.
I know. I love it. I'm finally not like sweating through my entire outfit anymore. My first few weeks interviewing, I would literally like collapse after the show because I was so nervous. So at least I'm settling in a little bit. So
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for being patient with me. Yeah.
It happens over time. Trust me.
Awesome. All right. Well, whether you're sweating profusely or remaining calm and cool, whatever you're doing for this holiday, whatever you're doing for the rest of the week, no matter what, we hope that you end up in the
Winner Circle.
The Winner Circle.
Winner